I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan. I appreciate the movies, especially the original trilogy. I was born at a time when there was only three, and now those three are a whole nother number. And there's a bunch of other Star Wars movies out there. I do respect Star Wars. I appreciate it as well, but I'm not a huge Star Wars fan. And you know what? I can appreciate the work that what is Ubisoft is doing for the upcoming Star Wars Outlaws. What's going on, everyone? My name is Marcel, or MD14. Welcome back to another video. And I had a chance to visit Ubisoft Toronto. That's right, visit, because they do not live too far from me. So I didn't fly in. There was special car picked me up. I want to get that out of there because I read what's going on the internet and everything. But I was brought down. Not brought down. Hear me now. I took my own car, my own gas, no reimbursement. Anyway, I traveled down to Ubisoft Toronto to check out some behind the scenes work with Star Wars Outlaws. And you know what? I'm really impressed with everything that I saw, and I'm gonna get into this video right now. Myself and some other colleagues as well. I was super happy to see all of them, especially everyone who I'm on a podcast with. You know, normally we don't get to experience stuff like this. You usually see people in the the LA crowd, or mostly in the States. You see them going to different events. It was actually nice to see and also able to attend an event in your own backyard, and especially be able to hang out with people that you closely work with as well. But my day started off with a lovely story of the crafting of Star Wars Outlaws. And Navid Kavari and Nikki Foy and Humberly Gonzalez, who is of course the main character, the main actress for Star Wars Outlaws. They came together to tell us their story of the beginning of it. At first, Humberly had no idea she was even going she was auditioning for Star Wars. She thought it was some kind of Westworld style of a game that she was auditioning for. It wasn't until when they decided to break the news to her that she knew that she was in the role for a brand new Star Wars game. Navid Kavari previously worked on the Far Cry franchise. They were the narrative designer and writer for Far Cry 4, 5, Primo, and 6 as well. So for an open world game, especially open world Star Wars game, I feel like this is in good hands, honestly. They also worked on other projects such as The Division and Splinter Cell as well. Obviously I cannot replicate how they were discussing their passion and when they found out that they're working on Star Wars. I can only retell that the fact that like his brother was the first person he told, because when they were growing up, his brother introduced him to Star Wars with having all the figurines and everything, and getting choked up. You can tell this is like, he can't believe this is truly happening. And someone with that backstory, you could tell that they want to make sure that they're doing this right and that they're doing this correctly as well. And I'm excited to see for him to be able to tell his story, his version of a Star Wars story, because Lucasfilms did give them like free reign, obviously, but like if something that like, oh no, you can't have that, but they weren't like hovering over them. That was one of the questions I did ask, like, hey, how much how much toggle, or was there any push or pull? And there wasn't anything. There was like, hey, it's happening around this era, tell your story. And that's really, and I must, you must give it up to Lucasfilms for allowing them to be able to give them free reign for that. Especially, and like, I must give it up to Navid Kavari and the team as well, because normally, if like, there's some people who will be like, hey, this is my story, you should act this way, this is how I see it. No, Davari and the entire Ubisoft team who's behind it, they allowed a lot of great feedback. They had discussions, and Humberly Gonzalez was able to add in some stuff that, hey, I didn't think of that. What you did there fits so properly. Type of moments, it's pretty evident that Humberly has, infused herself as Kay. She sees herself as Kay. She may have been acting as Kay when during, off work hours as well. But her whole heart is fully into this, involving the character from a snarky, underdog into someone relatable and real. Of course, Kay has her sidekick, and basically her family, which is Nyx as well. You know, Kay never had a family growing up, and Nyx is the only one who's been by her side and and knows who she is. And basically, there's layers of emotion there. It's and not only that, the cool thing about Nyx is that they actually got a puppeteer to move around with Nyx and everything. They had like this different versions of Nyx and everything, which is pretty cool for the mocap and everything. Really neat, I must say. And you truly see the passion that Humberly has put behind Kay, and I wouldn't be surprised if I see Humberly in a future Star Wars show playing as Kay. I would not. I wouldn't go. Like I wouldn't. I'll be willing to bet that. But it truly showed the passion that the Ubisoft team was doing, especially on the cinematic things as well. They have gone well and beyond, trying to replicate the cinematic experience, even drawing inspiration they mentioned from Rogue One, for example, researching and replicating like the film's art style and cinematography. They even got a real movie crew to handle the motion capture, recording, and treating it on the same levels as if they're making a movie. And to go to that length, honestly, like, it just shows that how serious they are, and how much respect and how much homage they're paying to the Star Wars franchise and to the story that they're trying to tell as well. They definitely have worked. They've definitely worked countless of hours with. I believe they mentioned they had 120 realization scenes and over 201 hours of motion capture recordings as well, like, which is absolutely insane, I must say. Definitely insane. They work tirelessly to ensure the game does not disappoint fans, and to commit, and the commitment is very evident from the storytelling to the visual presentations of things. It's truly amazing, the stuff that they opened up and show, and I really hope they kind of even include it in the game as well as like behind the scenes footage, so just so that other people could see what they have done, or maybe release it as a YouTube video being like, hey, here's all the work we have done, go play our game now, type of thing. Because seeing this, like, it definitely opens your eyes, and being like, wow, I am ready for this experience. And of course, we cannot forget about Nikki Foy as well, the lead script writer. They previously did AAA. They previously written for Far Cry, Watch Dogs Legions as well, and they also worked on some other TV shows and short films and sketches. Huge Star Wars fan as well. It's brother. I don't know what to say. I don't even know what to say. Hey, if you see this, leave a comment right now. All right, so Bogdan Dragici, I'm really sorry for butchering that name. They're the realized director for Massive Entertainment. Bogdan has actually worked on previous like Star Wars movies, and even on like Ready Player One, Aladdin, Solo, the Solo movie. They also worked on the game Division 2 and Far Cry 3. They also did something with the Avengers as well. They had their whole list there. being a realization director, you want to make sure that you get the looks and the feels, and they did a really good job. Sorry, they did a really good job with wanting to replicate or even borrow, like I guess like take a piece from each director from previous films to make it to its own way. A lot of people we're especially our Star Wars fans. They're very passionate on the look and the feel, and you have to make sure you get that nailed down. And him and the entire team definitely made sure that they did that, especially with a gaming cutscene. A gaming cutscene looking like how a movie cutscene will look. That's crazy. Like, and then they had a storyboard element of how things would look, and then we saw like we saw how the storyboard and like how like the model looked from that, or maybe just how like they had like the picture of the mocap footage of that like replacing the storyboard. It was so cool to see. I must say, and they made like they were making sure that they're doing their jobs and that because one thing for sure, Star Wars fans super passionate, especially about their franchise, and they want to make sure that they do not disappoint. That's for sure. I actually I was very, very lucky for being able. This is like my first interview with a big studio. So I hope I did a good job. Let me know what you think.
Okay, hi there. My name is Jason Cook. I'm Associate Realization Director here at Ubisoft Toronto, working on Star Wars Outlaws.
Cool.
Hello, I'm Bogdan Dragic, and I am Realization Director and Cinematic Director at Ubisoft Massive in Sweden, working on Star Wars Outlaws.
I'm Michael Hollenbeck, Associate Animation Director here at Ubisoft Toronto.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time and for everyone's time. We do appreciate it. I guess for me, what was the biggest challenge for you guys? Because you're telling, I know there's a whole story behind it, but there's no part of that story without any emotion behind it. So what was the biggest challenge for this whole project you will find?
I mentioned this before, and for me the biggest challenge was to create a unique experience that the player would enjoy, grounded in an already existing universe, with a very high standards in terms of quality and impact on the public, right? So for me that was the biggest challenge.
Okay.
I hope the player is gonna feel like we achieved that.
Mm-hmm. And at Ubisoft, we have a really big experience, a good experience in making these amazing open worlds that you really want to explore and spend time in. So to take that experience and put it in the galaxy of Star Wars, which we all know, we all love very, very deeply, it's just a dream project. So we're super excited to get this in the hands of players for sure.
Yeah, and for me, I would say the biggest challenge was just the surrounding seamless transitions in and out, just making sure that the tech landed and that we could get it to function and feel as smooth as possible and give the player just a really nice experience.
Yeah, awesome. You mentioned that you went back and saw like how things were filmed and everything. What made you want to go that direction?
I mean, for me, it's important to support the story in the best way, right? And what other references we have than these successful movies, right? Yeah. So, of course, we try to keep and to implement everything that made those movies successful. Of course, in a project that is a little bit in a different medium, which is like a full CGI, limited by a game engine type of medium. But wherever we could implement technology that was used and turned out to be successful, we did that.
Yeah, and for me, like with animation, animation comes in a variety of styles, right?
Absolutely.
And so we just didn't want to break anything or introduce a new style that shouldn't be there. We really wanted to do justice to the galaxy and to all the craftsmen that kind of came before us, and just the respect that came out of all of those films that have entertained us throughout our years, Yeah. And so basically, as much as it's already part of our history as just a human and a consumer, it was also great to be able to like revisit a lot of that stuff in a professional manner and just make sure we were really doing justice to like the craft of creating characters.
Awesome.
And Bogdan had mentioned, doing that homework, going back and looking at the cinematography and the lensing and stuff of you know, the original trilogy and specifically between 5 and 6 where our game exists, you know. It's just kind of necessary to put ourselves in the right mindset. You know, we're not looking to replicate that frame for frame, but having that in our minds, setting the tone, you know, in our minds was very, very helpful in approaching this project.
Amazing. So was there any challenges, because I know you have a film background, you worked on both sides of the film and the video games, but to correlate that to animation, because were there any butting heads or something just didn't work, or was it like a smooth transition? Be like we didn't make your job a lot easier. Be like, oh, thank God we know how this is supposed to look and everything like that. Like,
for me, I mentioned this before. Is actually I try to bring everything I learned in film in terms of pipeline and workflow. So. Actually, our review pipeline is very much like the one that you will experience in a company like Industrial Magic or Weta or PC. We have the same type of dailies review. We have a similar approach in giving notes and implementing the notes and in progressing towards the final result. We again, what's important for us is to deliver quality. What's important for us, for the player to understand the story in a clear way and to have fun while playing it. And how to deliver that, we're always looking for the fastest way, preserving that type of quality.
Yeah, and for us in animation, it was really fantastic being able to work with mocap data that the actors provided, as well as stunts and stunt teams. And stitching those two things together really creates a really fantastic foundation of realistic actions that you can kind of use to build on top of, rather than just starting from scratch and trying to keyframe like a jump or a takedown out of the blue. Just having the stunt team be able to perform some of that stuff and merge it with like unreleased performance, it was really fantastic.
Yeah, and I think I hope you're gonna feel that when you play the game. But I feel compared with other projects that, especially with cinematics, we managed to hit a very good balance between action and dialogue. We try to keep the scenes, like the cinematic scenes, quite short. We try to make sure that whatever we say in those cinematics is not something that you want to skip because it's maybe unnecessary information. So we were trying to deliver to the player only the information that is needed for you to have access to while progressing, but keeping you engaged and immersed in the experience.
Awesome. Anything for you?
I'd say in building realization scenes is a very similar approach, right? It's about economy of storytelling, right? We want to respect the player's time. We want to make sure that everything we put on screen is there for a reason, and it pushes the story forward. It's valuable, So.
Awesome. And you mentioned that you referenced Rogue One, which is one of my favorite Star Wars movies, actually. Was there a reason for that? I know I heard it, but just for them to hear it.
The reason of using Rogue One as a reference was because they had a similar approach. The action is happening in the same kind of era. So there was a lot of similarities with our project. And in my opinion, they were very successful at delivering a new experience that kept the audience satisfied while grounded in this Star Wars universe. And for us, that was very inspiring.
Awesome. Was there, I guess, I don't know if you can say it yet, but was there any favorite moments during this capture that you guys have done? Like, you're like, oh, I love this moment here, or you can't mention it just yet?
I mean, you saw the Meet Jabba scene.
Yes.
And as I mentioned before, this was one of the first scenes that we shot. So while the team was quite new, we didn't have a chance to build a strong relationship yet. I think I never forget like the first table read on that scene. And when the actor who was interpreting Jabba started talking Huttese, and I swear that everybody, like all the actors, including myself, we just froze. So we forgot to tell our lines, and we had to start over because we got goosebumps of like, wow, this is actually Jabba. It was such a fantastic moment, and I remember everybody's energy was like quite high up, and everybody was enthusiastic, and it was absolutely incredible atmosphere on set.
Amazing.
Yeah, for myself, it would be the Rancor intro.
Okay.
I mean, we were just so excited to participate with that character. And like I said earlier in the presentation, we wanted to do justice to the Rancor that you watched in Return of the Jedi, but we didn't want to replicate it exactly. We wanted to replicate the memory you would have had at that moment.
Yeah.
And so doing that justice and kind of putting together a couple pitches, a couple ideas on what this character or this creature could do, and then presenting them to Bogdan and Naveed. And then once it got greenlit, we just got more and more excited that we could polish and bring this character to life, and then bring something to the table that I think everyone's going to really enjoy when they discover it.
Cool.
Yeah, and working with Umberly Gonzalez has been so much fun. She's brought so much to the character of Kay.
She's still adding more context. And we're like, the game's done, right?
It's amazing. She's such a great collaborator. And say for example, the scene where we first get introduced to her speeder bike.
Yes.
She brought so much to that scene. She was just so excited to see it and to rev the engine and get Nix up on the seat and everything like that. And that all comes from her. And we were just able to capture that and build on it and flesh out that scene in a really fun way.
I think that was a super cool scene actually, because I remember you were proposing how about this is like a race car, she's just admiring the materials, the leather, and we're gonna approach it as almost like a commercial for a vehicle, right? And then it didn't feel right. It felt a bit off, I loved the idea, but it felt like a little bit too tacky. And then I had our storyboard artist Guy, and he said he's a very funny character, and then he always had this insane ideas. Sometimes we need to hit the brake with him. But I remember he said how about she does all that, she touches it, she looks at it, but then the line would be something like, what a piece of junk. and I pitched that to Naveed, and he was like, this is fantastic. So we ended up with that in the project.
And that's one of the fun parts about it, is it is a collaboration. We'll start with a script, or we'll start with a storyboard, and we'll start building it out, but then people will find interesting new ideas that improve the scene overall, and we'll pitch it to each other, and everybody will agree, we'll build on that, and then it'll take a slightly new direction, and that's how the best creative decisions get made.
So do we see her selling a bike to us in the future, like a Mitsubishi futuristic bike or something like that? That'd be pretty cool. I guess as my final, I have one more question. Yeah, perfect. That's actually I just wanted to know, because we've heard everyone else's. What was your favorite? What did you guys do when you found out that you were working on this? I know you worked on Star Wars in the past, but when you found out you were making your own original story, and how did you?
I was very excited, and
who did you tell first? I guess.
I worked on Star Wars in the past, and I was I was blown away, especially because I was in working with those people that created all those movies, and I had so much to learn. But now it was a bit different, because now I had the opportunity I had creative freedom, and I had the opportunity to actually build something new, and to be out there competing. I don't want to be lacking modesty, because I don't feel like I'm up there with all those
Your
directors.
picture's gonna go next to the rest,
It's Star Wars. Imagine that.
Absolutely,
and it's gonna be recorded forever.
Absolutely.
And we're gonna be part of that forever.
It's part of the
for
story
me,
now.
That's mind blowing.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I told my family, I have a 6-year-old and a 2.5-year-old and my wife, and they now sing, I think, the tune of The Empire Strikes Back all the time at breakfast. So it's pretty cute and pretty great.
Awesome.
And, it's a great experience.
Cool.
Yeah, no, I think definitely for everyone involved, it's a dream come true. To be able to be entrusted with this really special galaxy, and be able to play in it and expand.
So when you found out, how was your reaction? Who'd you tell first?
I was just over the moon. It was a great opportunity to do a rewatch of all of my favorite movies. All the original trilogy stuff, and of course, I told my 3-year-old was just dipping his toes into this universe too. So it's really cool that he can connect with it already. So
that's so cool. Yeah. So basically, that's the whole scoop with Star Wars Outlaws. Super excited. I can confirm I am currently reviewing it. If you want to see what I think about the game, make sure to tune back here on when was it? Thursday. But I don't remember what day. Just make sure to tune back here next week for when the embargo is lifted. All right. I totally forgot what it is. I got so much going on. I'm so sorry, everybody. But I got a lot more content for all of you. If you have any questions that I can answer, if I cannot answer, I'll let you know in the comments below. I'll be like, hey, I cannot answer this question. But if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. If you want to start a healthy conversation, let me know. Or even if you're like, hey, you're kind of full of it. Hey, you know what? If you made it this far, at the end of the video, I want that to be the first comment. You're full of it. All right. I want to see if this. I'm gonna give this a try. If you're seeing this, type in the comments. You're full of it. Hopefully, I remember. Hopefully, I remember for you to write that. But anyway, I love you all. As always, have yourself a damn good one.